told myself a while ago, if I call myself in 5 years, I better not be sitting in the same damn spot. If I call myself 5 years from there, I better not be sitting in the same damn spot. And what I mean by that, I'm not saying in the same house with the same family. What I mean is the same person, the same type of leader, the same type of husband, the same type of father, the same type of community leader, the same type of Christian,
Run up the rats like I want them. Count up the rap, we gon' want them. Carrots, I want them opponents. Clarity beats, I see water. Talking cash out when I want them.
Good day, everybody. Monday, September 22nd. Welcome. Move Podcast, motivating others virtually every day. Thanks for joining in. Today, I got a good one in for you today. We're talking about personal growth and mindset. Before we get started today, I do want to give a shout out. Actually, today is my wife and I's 14-year anniversary being together. Saturday was our 11 years married. You can blame her for all the anniversary shout outs. I tried to keep the date the same, guys, but she would not marry me on a Monday. So we got married on a Saturday, so 2 days before. So today is our 14-year anniversary, and I just kind of wanted to share a little bit about our story. 14 years, there's been some ups and there's been some downs. And I heard something the other day from Tim Hughes, pastor at Grace Church there in Topeka, and I agree with him. God knew what he was doing when he put her in my life. Because honestly, guys, she's not a fan of me. Like she keeps me humble. She doesn't think I'm very funny, and I need somebody like that in my life to keep me grounded. She's somebody that gives me honest critique, honest feedback out of the goodness of her heart, and it's very important that we have those people. And she is my biggest fan, but at the same time, she's one of my biggest critics, and that's what I need. And I irritate her, I frustrate her, I snore and keep her awake, and all these things. But 14 years later, here we are. More in love today than we've ever have. And so I just want to give her a shout out. So shout out to you, honey, and I appreciate everything that you do for me and our kids, and truly a blessing in our lives. And I know it's cliche, but I know I wouldn't be half the man I am today without her. She's helped me overcome obstacles, overcome genetics, overcome all these things. It's just been her by my side. So appreciate you, honey, and let's keep it going. All right, let's move into today's episode, personal growth and mindset. So I talk a lot about mind, body, and spirit, and the importance of practicing mind, body, and spirit on a daily basis. No days off, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, 12 months a year, however you want to frame it. No days off, 0 days off in a year on mind, body, and spirit. Why is this important? Well, there's so many different aspects to this mind, body, and spirit stuff. So I'm just going to kind of break it down on a personal growth and mindset and how this stuff can kind of influence it. So the very first thing that you're going to notice is I'm going to talk about the power of small wins. Okay, a small win in the Navy SEAL world, and a small win is making your bed. You wake up, you make your bed. And the Navy SEALs will tell you, at the end of the day, you could have a really rough day and a really bad day, but at least you have a nice made bed to lay down in. It's kind of the running joke. But you wake up and you make your bed. That's one small win. What does one small win do? It encourages you to do another, and then another, and then another. The next thing you know, you start stacking these things. Okay? Now, I don't make my bed every morning. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys. I don't. My small win first thing in the morning is usually Bible study, then gym. Most of the time I can get those two things knocked out before 7 a.m. Almost every day. So those are 2 wins before 7 a.m. Before I've even seen my son wake up, I already have 2 victories under my belt. And I'm hungry for more. This is on a daily basis. A power of small wins. Okay, and then you start throughout your day. You come home, and all of a sudden you're tired. I did shoulders today, so my shoulders are exhausted, right? You come home, you do dishes, sweep, vacuum, take trash out. You just start doing stuff because you're already up and you're already at it, and you start stacking. Boom, boom, boom. Next thing you know, you take your kid to school and you've already halfway cleaned your house, just because you had the energy and the want to and the gumption because you're ready to stack more wins. So then you go off in your day. You go across somebody extremely negative, angry. But because you already have 5 or 6 wins under your belt, you're able to look at that and be, you know what? They're having a bad day. I'm 6-1 now. See the math here? 6 wins, 1 loss. You came across somebody very negative that had an impact on you, made you feel a certain way, but you're 6-1. You keep on going. That's the whole point. You see how this snowballs every single day. It's a snowball. The goal is you should have at least 3 wins before you leave your house. That is the goal. So you're 3-0 leaving to go into the world. That should be your minimum goal. Okay? It's power of small wins. Small wins will change your entire life. If you can figure out how to stack these things day in, day out, it'll change your entire life. It'll change your entire trajectory, because you will start stacking and stacking and stacking and stacking. You just won't stop. It's just never ending. It's all psychological stuff. I'm not going to get into the scientific things behind it, but just understand that it is a psychological thing that is a proven fact. That if you can wake up and start winning right away, maybe it's making your bed. Maybe it's going to the gym. Maybe it's eating a whole hearty breakfast full of whole clean foods. Okay? Little things. You'll know it. Your body will feel it. You'll feel like you've done something positive. You'll know when you've had a small win. Okay? The other thing that's mightily important is reframing your setbacks. And I've pulled a couple quotes, or I guess a quote. Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb, he said, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that don't work. It's all about perspective. Had he really went all in, all eggs in one basket, first experiment, he'd have probably been extremely depressed, upset, and who knows what our light bulbs would look like. But it's the power of, okay, well, this didn't work, but what did I learn from this? Did I at least pick something up that I can apply to future experiments? And what did I know that just didn't work at all, that I can just completely cut out? And that's how you build. Okay? Real world example would be, say you get laid off, say you get fired, whatever the case, the business goes out, whatever. Okay? You don't have a job anymore. You could sit down and cry, and maybe rightfully so. Maybe you have kids and wife, and you are the breadwinner, and this is going to greatly impact your family, and you don't have anywhere to look. That's understandable. I can understand why somebody would want to cry over that situation, right? That's okay. But when you get done crying, let's put things in perspective. It's not the end of the world. And I can't tell you the amount of stories that I've heard of people losing their job, and that was a turning point of starting a business. Or that was a turning point of getting into the field that they actually were passionate about. Okay, so don't take a negative, in the moment setback as ultimate failure, because it's the furthest thing from the truth. You need to take a deep breath and maybe pivot on the angle you're looking at it. Okay? I'm not a perfect person. I've had multiple setbacks in my life. Multiple. Some self-inflicted, some not. I think that's pretty much everybody. However, it took me over 30 years to start looking at things a different way. I'm like, you know what? I'm not a failure. Sometimes I fail, but that's because I'm trying. So if I'm failing, that tells me that I'm leading by example to my kids to keep trying. If you're not failing at anything, you're staying stagnant. You're staying in your comfort zone, which is unacceptable. One last thing I want to highlight on is breaking free from negative self-talk. This is a very, very, very big one. And you'll hear me make little jokes, and I'm still working on this. I'll call myself a doofus, right? When it comes to technology, guys, I'm just in the dark on this stuff. I don't understand the way these things work. Softwares, editing, this stuff just doesn't make any sense. It wasn't ever my forte. I can come in here and talk in this mic all day long and make it sound okay, but when it comes to actually producing and, not my forte. So I will sit here and say I'm a doofus. That's something I need to work on. Because even that, your body hearing you say that about yourself, it puts a certain energy into your brain. Even though if you say it lightheartedly, you say it jokingly, it doesn't matter. The fact is, your brain heard those words come out of your mouth referencing yourself in a negative light. And over time, that psychologically is going to have an impact on you, and it's not going to be a positive one. So getting this under control, and not even jokingly calling yourself stupid, not even jokingly telling yourself you're dumb, you're a doofus, you're whatever. Guys, you've heard me. I'm not speaking at you guys like I have this stuff mastered. These are just things that I understand and completely know that we all need to work on, that this stuff does make a positive impact long term. I know this stuff. I know my friends around me exercise this. My circle of people are exercising this right here. Okay, so I know this stuff works. And I've gotten tremendously better, but there are still aspects where, in my mind, that's the way I stay humble, is I'll just insult myself in front of somebody so they don't think that I think I'm a certain person. And in reality, it's like, you know what? It's not my responsibility to make sure that somebody doesn't think that I'm an arrogant asshole. That's not my responsibility. It's my responsibility to stand firm on what I believe in. And if they perceive it that way, that's their perception. It is not my intention, so I don't really care what their perception is. If you can't get past somebody sitting and talking into a mic and speaking from experience, and you think that's an egotistical move, we're probably not going to be, acquaintances. We're probably not going to get along very well anyways. Just throw that out there. So when you talk about breaking free from negative self-talk, in other words, this is practical ways to rewire inner dialogue. An example of this technology stuff, something I recently started telling myself, instead of calling myself a doofus on this stuff, I told myself I'm transitioning into a new field, and that learning curve is steep, just like any other learning curve would be, especially the older you get. Trying new things, the older you get, it's a little bit tougher. There's a reason, there's a saying, it's, teach an old dog new tricks, right? It's harder to learn as you get older. I don't know that's actually harder to learn. People are less susceptible to learning as they get older. They get comfortable, they get set in their ways, they think they have it all figured out. And I think that more has to do with it than anything else. But quit talking about you don't like the way you look. If you don't like the way you look, go fix it. Don't take a shot. By all means, do not take a shot. By all means, do not take a shot. Do not take a pill. What are we doing, guys? Stop that. Just stop. Quit. Whatever you're doing, just stop. Go to the gym. Get out of the middle of the grocery store. Stay on the outside of the grocery store. And even then, do your research on the stuff you're buying on the outside of that grocery store, because even then, you still got to research, guys. That's how bad this stuff is. Okay? It's really, really atomically bad in the middle of a grocery store. The outside, just do your research. Figure out what's in what. Start there. And stop insulting your intelligence. Stop insulting your image. Because let's be honest, at the end of the day, if you don't like the way you look, you don't like the way you talk, you don't like the way you carry yourself, go look in the mirror, and that's whose fault that is. Because at some point, I understand, maybe you didn't have the greatest upbringing, maybe you didn't have the best support, but at some point, you're going to have to get to a point in your life where that cannot be an excuse. You're going to have to look in the mirror and be like, okay, what do I need to do to correct this? That's where I get into this breaking free from negative self-talk. That's where this comes into play. You have got to get to a point where it's, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm rinsing this stuff off of me. I'm going to go live the life that I've always wanted to go live. I want to go be the person I've always wanted to go be. I want to be around the types of people I've always wanted to go be around. You have to get to a breaking point to where you are so involved in yourself and your growth that you start looking at yourself in a positive light, because you understand it's a journey. And honestly, once you start practicing mind, body, and spirit every day, you will thank yourself every day. You will feel the difference every day. You will notice the difference every single day. And it's euphoric in the beginning, and as that subsides, you can still feel a difference though. You can still remember, you'll be in a situation where somebody just pops something off, just smarts something off to you. Old me would have been like, oh, we got a problem here. Let's figure out what the problem is. That's old me. Thinking I had something to prove. New me, I just chuckle and walk away. What's the point? There's no point. There's no point I'm going to prove. I'm going to get myself in a lot of trouble. That's all that's going to do. So it's just all this stuff comes into play. And power of small wins, reframing setbacks, and breaking free from negative self-talk. If you can start on those 3 things for your own personal self, this has nothing to do with your kids, your spouse, your career. This is you. This is between you and you. This is you at your core. This is you and your soul. Okay, this is deep stuff. You got to go internal here. You got to fix some things in here to get things fixed in here. Follow? Don't blame kids. Don't blame parents. This is you. This is a you thing. Okay? So make sure, instead of saying I'm a doofus, say I have a steep learning curve. I'm an idiot. I need to connect to more people that have more experience in this. Just look at it differently. You are only an idiot if you choose to be an idiot. Otherwise, you're just ignorant. You don't know what you don't know. There's a difference. There's a big difference. And you should never be okay with being an idiot. And honestly, you should never be okay with being ignorant. If it's something you're passionate about, go learn about it. It's okay to be ignorant for a little while. So that's it. And honestly, the biggest thing for me is I told myself a while ago, if I call myself in 5 years, I better not be sitting in the same damn spot. If I call myself 5 years from there, I better not be sitting in the same damn spot. And what I mean by that, I'm not saying in the same house with the same family. What I mean is the same person, the same type of leader, the same type of husband, the same type of father, the same type of community leader, the same type of Christian. All these things. I have better progress day in, day out, month in, month out, year in, year out. There should be noticeable progression. When I first started going, I would just go through the motions. Okay, I read my chapter, I did my Bible study, and I went to the gym. It was like a mental checklist. That was how I started. There's nothing wrong with that. But now I got journals that I write in to document my stuff. I got that's my Bible study journal that I use, and this is my basically a diary, I guess. I don't really know. It's just where I take a lot of my notes. I just jot things down as I hear them, see them. That's how I've progressed though. Because then I became obsessed with this stuff and I wanted to become more organized with it. Because I'd get a lot of good information and then I was just so scatterbrained that I was like, man, I can't remember. And so I started just writing stuff down. And as I wrote it down, now I can remember it. And so it's just progressing. I didn't start that way. And you probably won't either. Maybe you can. Maybe you're more organized than I am. Kudos to you. Organization has never been my strong point. I've always just been a high performer. And if I could just have somebody behind me to pick up the pieces, fantastic. Because I've just never been somebody that's been patient enough in the moment to pick up all the little pieces as we go. It's never been my strong point. I've known that about myself. Something I continue to work on. Taking a deep breath. Quit being so gung-ho. It's okay. Relax. And those are things I have to tell myself. So anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this. It's personal growth and mindset. This stuff right here, those 3 things, power of small wins, reframing setbacks, and breaking free from negative self-talk. Those 3 things by themselves, if you can just jot those things down, maybe write yourself some examples on what are you going to do to get your small wins. Make a list. What are your daily small wins going to be? Because you're going to get wins involved in there. But maybe it's making your bed, going to the gym, reading your book, doing your Bible study, and cooking a meal. That's a win. It always feels better when you cook something at home versus you went to the fast food drive-thru, right? There's a difference in the way that feels. Reframing setbacks. Maybe write down some of your latest failures. Maybe go back the last 6 months and write them all down. And be honest and humble with yourself on what was a failure. And then maybe jot some notes down on different ways to look at that. Was it growth? Could it be fuel for growth? Could it be fuel for motivation? Could it add to your discipline? Things like that. Try to maybe look at things different. Try to spin it and see what it does for you. Breaking free from a negative self-talk. I would encourage you guys to jot down a little list. What are some of the words that you use negative against yourself? Is it idiot, asshole, dummy, dipshit, whatever. Whatever it could be. Write those words down. Once you write them down, try to make a conscious effort to never put yourself in that light when you use these words. Highly encourage it. So, that would be the conclusion of today's episode, guys. Personal growth and mindset. One of the things I wanted to touch on before we get out of here today. A couple things, actually. I've had a lot of people, I say a lot, like 20 to 30, so whatever, asking me if I would make a whole video or an episode regarding Charlie Kirk. My simple response is no. Here's why. I'm not opposed to talking about Charlie Kirk on this podcast, and you guys are going to see that this week. However, this is not my podcast. I will have people that I respect and admire, people with knowledge, wisdom, education, things like that on this podcast. We will talk about a lot of things, current events, politics, all these things are going to be factored into this stuff. When I'm here by myself and solo, I am motivating others virtually every day, trying to help other people get a grasp on themselves, because I was in a spot at one point in my life where I had no control over who I was, and I didn't really understand how to get control over who I was. And so this is just me trying to be a light for those people that maybe they really want to get better, they want to progress, they just don't know how. They don't have anybody in their direct life right now, so they don't know how. That's why I'm here by myself solo. So I don't want to cover those types of events when I'm sitting here solo. It's not because I don't care. It's because I didn't come on here to be some controversial influencer. That's not my point here. And I'm not saying I won't have controversial conversations on the podcast when I have guests. But when I'm by myself, I have decided that, my calling here is to motivate others virtually every day. So that's what I'll be doing. But I am going to have some guests on here, and there's going to be no filter. Okay? So brace for impact on that. But we're going to have real conversations, guys. We're going to talk about the real world stuff. Absolutely. We're going to really get into some stuff. We're going to get into the Charlie Kirk situation, politics, our medical field, our health situation, our food situation. All these things are going to be brought up in these conversations. Real life, real time events. I'm just not covering them personally one-on-one by myself for a specific reason. The second thing is I wanted to clear it up really quick. I've had some other people reaching out, words of encouragement for my son. And guys, I really do appreciate it. I was just sharing an example and sharing a story with you guys, a real life example. He's doing well. He is good. I was just giving an example of you take your technology away from your kids, and within 5 days, you will see exactly what I am talking about. Take their phone, take their games, take everything away. You will see what I'm talking about. That's what I was trying to get to. That was the point that I was trying to get to. But no, he is good. He's very involved in stuff. He's got a lot of friends, a lot of support. He's in a very, very good headspace at this point. And he even comes home and talks about how disconnected kids are at school, because now he notices it, because now he is very connected to his environment. He's very connected. He understands building relationships and bonds and the meaning behind that and how you do it, the importance of it, and how you value it, how you respect it, how you retain it. He's learning all of these things now that I was always trying to teach him, but he was only halfway listening most of the time because he was so encapsulated into whatever's in front of him. And so he was hearing the words coming out of my mouth, but he wasn't being forced to really execute any of it. Which, oh yeah, okay, Dad. So anyway, appreciate all the support. I really do. The world is a good place, guys. It really is. But he is fine. He's doing well, and he's not depressed. He's not lonely and lonely, but not alone anymore. So really do appreciate all the support. But he is good. So everybody, thanks for joining. Appreciate it. Appreciate the support. Like, share, subscribe, follow, all the things. I really, really do appreciate it. And we do have an interview coming up this week with Conservative Ant, so stay very, very tuned. We're going to be setting stuff up for that. So anyways, appreciate the support. Move Podcast. Keep it moving, guys. Thank you. God bless.